Friends, hope you all are well. During the day, a terrible black snake used to sit on the wall of the Kaaba. At night, he would go to the well next to the Kaaba and guarded the gold coins lying there. This is about the time when Muhammad, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, had just reached puberty. Prophethood is still received from Allah. At that time he was very loved by all the people of the society. Even Abu Jahl loved him very much. Basically, the entire Quraysh community was worried about the snake sitting on the wall of the Kaaba all day long. They could not kill him because he was guarding the gold coins inside the well next to the Kaaba at night. Originally, there was a well next to the Kaaba house at that time. Those who came to visit the Kaaba house would throw their offerings into the well to fulfill their vows. They would usually throw precious gold coins, because people never donate things of low value in the house of Allah. Once someone stole valuable gold coins from this well. Stealing from that well was extremely easy, because the walls of the Kaaba house were very low and very soft. The Kaaba is in a low-lying area, and the walls were in a very dilapidated condition due to the rainwater around it. Moreover, there was no roof over it. So anyway, the thief who stole the gold coin by swearing it away was caught by the people of Quraysh, following the strategy of Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam after many efforts, and both hands were cut off for the crime of theft. But in order to save the well where gifts and offerings were offered from thieves, it became necessary to break down the soft walls of the Kaaba and build strong walls there, and build a roof over the Kaaba. At the command of Allah Pak, an interesting incident happened at that time. People used to throw gold coins in the well next to the Kaaba house, but these gold coins and gifts were used for the renovation of the Kaaba house. Anyway, after the first theft of the well, a poisonous snake sat on the well every evening after the command of Allah. And in the morning that venomous cobra moved away and sat on the wall of the Kaaba, basking in the sun. It is written in the history books that the poisonous snake was not afraid of humans. He sat on the wall of the Kaaba and basked in the sun, and at night again to go on duty to protect the wealth of that well. If a person threw a gold coin into the well, he wouldn't stop it. But whenever a man tried to steal the gold coin, the poisonous snake would take its hideous form and would chase them away with a fos sound. As a result, everyone used to throw gold coins from afar. But they didn't dare to take gold coins from the well next to the Kaaba house. Anyway, since the snake was guarding the gold coin by God's order, it could not be removed in any way. Meanwhile, as the walls of the Kaaba were about to collapse due to rainwater, it became very important to repair it. Since the people of Quraysh were responsible for the maintenance of the Kaaba, and one of the most intelligent young men of the Quraysh clan, named Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, was given the responsibility to think about how to build the walls of the Kaaba. The young Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was standing by the Kaaba building the walls of the Kaaba and wondering what to do. In the meantime, by the command of Allah, a big eagle flew there and flew away with the venomous snake. Narrated by Hazrat Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu. The snake that used to live inside the Kaaba. The Quraysh wanted to renovate the Kaaba. Because of this, the eagle came and picked up the snake and threw it into the river at the command of Allah, and the ground there swallowed the snake. As a result, that snake will come out from near the Safa hill before the resurrection and will talk to people who will be called Dabatul Arad. Allahu Akbar. After rebuilding the walls of the Kaaba, the fear of snakes was removed, But now the second responsibility on the planner, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, was how to build it perfectly and lastingly. And this requires proper planning and skillful craftsmanship. While the Messenger of Allah was thinking about these things, suddenly the greatest craftsman in the world, he was from Greece, his name was Balcom, a Greek merchant and craftsman, was going to Rome with his ship to build a huge palace. On the way, his ship was hit by a storm and wrecked on the coast of Jeddah port. Allahu Akbar. As the ship was destroyed, Balcom somehow managed to stay in Jeddah with his life. He was the best craftsman of the era. As a mason and carpenter, he was number one in the whole world. The people of Mecca received news of his shipwreck. They sent men to Balcom. They came and bought all the broken timber and planks of the ship. Balcom was happy to sell them at a nominal price because his items were already perishing. And the people of Mecca bought these woods so that they could be used to rebuild the Kaaba. The people persuaded Balcom to go with them to Mecca and work on rebuilding the Kaaba. Then the people of Mecca were very happy to be able to hire a master craftsman like Balcom to rebuild the Kaaba. And Balcom also thought that before building the palace of the king of Rome, since his ship had been wrecked, let us do a work here. It will reduce the amount of damage or loss. Here was Allah's order. Then the construction of the Kaaba house began with loud noises. All tribes were united in this historic task of rebuilding the Kaaba, and no tribe was deprived of its honor. And the Prophet, PBUH, enthusiastically participated in this work. He made all the youths of his age interested in rebuilding the Kaaba apart from sports, and he was very popular among the youth. All necessary materials were collected, and blue stones were collected from the area around Mecca. Thus the work of rebuilding the Kaaba proceeded with great speed and enthusiasm. When the walls were raised about 5 to 6 feet, it was time to restore the Hajar Aswad stone to its old place. Lifting this sacred stone and placing it in its ancient heritage site was such an honorable task that every tribe was eager to claim the honor for themselves, because this work was done first by the father of the nation, Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi wasallam. So whoever does this will also observe the Sunnah of Abraham and Ishmael, the fathers of the Arab nation. Because of this sensitive issue started the incident of moral pollution and fighting between different tribes. Neither tribe agreed to give up their rights. As a result, the quarrels between all the tribes took such a terrible shape that at one point it turned into a bloody human conflict. A bloodthirsty and fearsome army was created. In ancient times there was a law in Arabia. When a man made a law for self-interest, he took a bowl of human blood and dipped his fingers in the blood and took an oath. So he came before the Kaaba with a bowl filled with the blood of the leader of the barbarian tribe. And all the strong youths of the tribe dipped their hands in the blood and prayed that if another tribe tries to place Hajar Aswad stones on the wall of the Kaaba, they will all be killed. For 4 days this terrible tension and conflict had a very bad effect on people's lives, and it seemed that at any time there would be many murders all over Mecca. So at that time there was an old wise great leader of Quraysh. He was very wise and intelligent. He wanted the chaos in Hajar Aswad not to lead to more killings. May this problem or crisis be resolved without bloodshed. So he gave an excellent suggestion. He said, all those who are present here stay all night around the Kaaba house, so that no one can find out this decision between us. Since the leaders of each tribe are present, the first person to enter the Kaaba tomorrow morning from Mount Safa will be considered the judge, and the verdict that person will give will be accepted by all. No mother's chest will be empty. Bleeding can be avoided. There will be no loss of life among you. As the youth of the tribe were furious, but the leaders of the tribe did not really want any bloodshed, so everyone accepted the leader's words. So the next morning, everyone started waiting outside Kaaba. No one released this information overnight. They all looked at the mountain. As soon as the morning sun rises, who comes first to cross the sunlight? Because that person is going to be the second person after Ibrahim alayhi wasallam to set up the Kaaba house with precious stones like Hajar Aswad. And there shall be no bloodshed between any of them concerning his establishment. Everyone will find a healthy solution peacefully. By the infinite mercy of Allah Ta'ala, the great man who was sent by Allah Ta'ala as a mercy to the whole world, came down from the Safa mountain that day by the light of the morning sun. When everyone looked up, they saw a young man with a bright and excited face whose name was Muhammad coming forward. As he was well known to the Quraysh, everyone started calling his name with love. Everyone called him Al-Amin. So the leaders of all the clans were so happy to see him that everyone said, "Hey, this young man is amazing. Look at the grace of the Creator. He might have wanted to send a person whom we all like. You say that we have any doubts about this young man?" Everyone shouted together and said that Muhammad and Al-Amin are the best among us. Allahu Akbar. When the Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, arrived at the scene and understood the whole matter, he immediately suggested bringing a sheet. The Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, spread the sheet on the ground. Then Hajar Aswad blessed his hand and placed it in the middle of that sheet. And he called the chieftain, or leader of every tribe, and said, "You leaders of every tribe, hold the edge of the cloth, and take this Hajar Aswad stone to the wall of the Kaaba." Here the clansmen, who were fighting among themselves, asked the chief leaders of all the 4 clans to hold around the chadar, and with his own hand he placed Hajar Aswad in the middle of the sheet. Everyone loved this wonderful idea that was brilliant and respectful to all, and every leader was happy. And the faces of the young men who had vowed themselves to fight valiantly also smiled, because they also have a patriarch who is holding one or the other corner of that sheet. Allahu Akbar. At last they all took the 4 corners of the sheet and carried it to the place where Hajar Aswad resides, i.e. the place where Hajar Aswad is supposed to be in the Kaaba. Then the Messenger of God, may God bless him and grant him peace, took the stone from between the sheets with his own hands and placed it in a certain place. Allahu Akbar. All the tribes were overjoyed. Everyone was impressed by the intelligence of the Messenger of Allah, may Allah bless him and grant him peace, with the wise decision of Muhammad. A bloody battle was resolved in an instant. Friends, once upon a time there lived a poor mother and her son in a town. His son's name was Abdullah. Abdullah's mother was a righteous slave of Allah Almighty. Abdullah knew his mother had a big dream, but he never spoke about his dream. But when he was young, he heard his dream from his mother. When he was young, his mother used to say that my Abdullah would make me perform Hajj. When he grows up and learns to earn, Abdullah will surely take me to Hajj. Now Abdul has grown up a lot, and he now works a job, but his job was not very big. That's why her mother gradually stopped talking about her dreams, so that his son does not have to worry about this. But Abdullah made up his mind that one day he would definitely make his mother perform Hajj. Abdullah had been saving money for some time, and he and his mother did not spend any money except for urgent needs. He would quietly eat whatever his son brought him. But his mother was very happy that her son respected her so much and tries to keep him happy. His mother was very proud of her son. Her mother asked her to marry him, but Abdullah did not want to marry. She used to say to her mother, "I don't want to get married now." But the real story is that Abdullah's mother has a dream. So if he gets married, then his expenses will increase. It will be difficult for him to accumulate the money he has, which he has saved for his mother after marriage. And many of the wife's responsibilities will fall on him. And he has to spend a lot of money on his back to fulfill his needs. At last, a day came when Abdullah had saved up all the money to go on Hajj. There is no end to his happiness, as he is about to fulfill a long-standing dreams of his mother. Then took out all the money from the bank and left for home. Today he will tell his mother a happy news. He was returning home very happily, thinking about it. He wondered how happy his mother would be when she found out about this. He is not far from his home. At that time, one of his friends came in front of him and saw that his friend was crying. He looks very worried. Seeing him, his friend said, "Abdullah, help me. My son fell off the roof and cracked his head. The doctor said that he has to undergo an operation and is asking a lot of money for it. And until we can deposit the money, they will not operate. Abdullah, help me for the Almighty Allah. He is my only child. I love him so much. I will die if anything happens to him. Abdullah, please help me. I don't know anyone else in this area except you." Abdullah's heart cried at the words of his friend. He realized how much danger his friend was in. There is a war going on in his mind now. Mother's Hajj on one side and friend's son's surgery on the other. His life is stuck in the operation. But he spent his whole life to save this money. He was thinking what to do now. Suddenly he remembered a word of his mother. His mother said, "Abdullah, when someone comes to you for help, don't hesitate to help him. Allah Almighty loves the helper very much. When you help someone, Allah Ta'ala will definitely help you. Whatever you give, Allah Almighty will give you back 10 times what you give." Thinking about this, he immediately decided to help his friend and took money out of his pocket and gave it to his friend. His friend thanked him and started walking towards the hospital. And Abdullah went to his house. And when he reached his house, his face was very sad. But he was happy in his heart because he came to a job for his friend. But still there was a pain in a corner of his mind because he could not fulfill his mother's wishes. His mother looked at his face and asked, "What happened to you?" But he deflected it by saying that. Then, after performing the Isha prayer, he cried a lot in the court of Almighty Allah. "O Allah, you understand my state of mind. I wanted my mother to perform Hajj, but I could not do it. I have no more money now. I am completely empty-handed. I don't know how long my mother will live in this world. If he cannot perform Hajj in this life, then you reward him for Hajj in the next life. My mother is a righteous slave of yours, so surely grant her the reward of Hajj." While doing this prayer, he fell down in prostration. The next day when he went to the office, he met the friend whom he had helped with the money. His friend saw him and immediately hugged him and said, "How can I thank you that my son is alive today?" But he then said that your son's life was saved by the grace of Almighty Allah. Then he said, "Of course, my brother." Abdullah's boss was a very good man. He used to spend every year from the profit fund of his business for the Hajj of some people. And he used to help 2 people from his office to perform Hajj. Abdullah and his friend are among those who will be able to go from office to perform Hajj by the order of Almighty Allah. But Abdullah was worried because he cannot take his mother with him on this Hajj. When his friend saw the worry on Abdullah's face, he said, "You should be happy. You can go for Hajj to the house of Almighty Allah. But why do you look worried?" Then Abdullah told him all the events. After hearing all this, the friend said, "Today is the day that I can help you in return for your help." Abdullah did not understand his words and said to his friend, "What is the meaning of your words?" Then his friend said, "You take your mother to Hajj instead of me." Abdullah was very happy to hear this and hugged his friend. After that, Abdullah and his mother performed Hajj together by the command of Almighty Allah. And in that Hajj, another family was performing Hajj with them. The family saw that Abdullah cared a lot about his mother. Sometimes he feeds his mother with his own hands. Sometimes he presses his mother's feet. The family was happy to see Abdullah and wanted to marry Abdullah with their daughter. And then his marriage took place in the city of Kaaba Sharif, the house of Almighty Allah, during the holy Hajj. Subhanallah. So guys, this was our story today. Be sure to comment how you liked the video.